I am Vinnie Tortorich. Folks, your good intentions have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent at the beginning of this process, but hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean, guaranteed. It's the Friday show. And folks, this guy has been here before. And as you know, I never really invite people back unless they were absolutely fascinating the first time. And this guy came on. I wanted to learn about air quality. We talked about things that happened. It was right. I think it was right after the LA fires. And our own Leona, who works for the show, every house around her had burned. And her house somehow miraculously was still standing. And, you know, we got talking about air quality and all the stuff. That's why I had this guy on. And it turns out he had a product, and I wanted to learn more about the product. And we'll talk about the product again today. But once again, I want to talk about air quality with none other than Michael Feldstein. Yeah. Oh, yeah. How's it going, brother?
It's going great. How's it going with you, man? Thanks for having me back.
You know, I became fascinated after, you know, sometimes when I don't know much about a subject, Mike, I'll have people on the show and then I'll go down rabbit holes. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's exactly what happened. You know, if, you know, as you do remember, you know, we talked right after the fires and everybody was talking about all the stuff and the air quality and the whole thing. Let's give the audience a little bit of your background. I know a guy like you that lives up in Missouri, a guy that goes in, if someone has mold in their house, you know, black mold was a big thing for 5 minutes. You know, 10 years ago, everybody in California had black mold. Couldn't buy a house, got black mold in it. You know, just all of this crazy stuff seems to kind of come and go. And the next thing you know, we're not talking about black mold anymore, right? So my question, and not my question, but the statement is, there's always some way to clean the air around us, especially in our homes. So where are we with this and why should we be concerned about it?
Yeah, man. So first thing, background, I was doing a lot for about 10 years. I was in the disaster remediation business, but we were not the local company you would call for kitchen leaks or plumbing leaks or house fires. We were specifically only going to catastrophic disasters. So think Hurricane Harvey, big wildfires, California fires, floods, hurricanes, but large citywide regional events. That's what we were doing. So wherever was the most, you know, huge hailstorms, wherever there was the most damage, pretty much in the continent, that's where we would go. And what that typically means, whether it's a mold situation or asbestos or bacteria, flood fire, the same principles would always apply. We would clean the surfaces, we would scrub the air, get the home back into a safe condition and test it. And then the family would, you know, be able to safely reoccupy their home. The machines that we would use to scrub the air are called air scrubbers. And it's when I was comparing and contrasting the air scrubbers to those little portable air purifiers that you'd see at Best Buy, Walmart, Amazon, Home Depot, that kind of thing, it wasn't even comparable. We're talking pickup trucks versus golf carts. Like
Right.
They were toys. They really couldn't clean the rooms at all. And so the machines that we were using was called scrubbers. The downside, and they were so effective. So that's what we would use to remediate the smoke, the mold, etc. Get that air in the home scrubbed. The problem is they're very loud and they're very ugly. So on a construction site, that's not a problem. But for that to be something that you would bring into your home for everyday life would be a big problem. So I kind of I analogize Jaspr, and our vision was to create the world's first air scrubber designed for people's homes. And I analogize it to SUVs. So SUVs only came into the market in the late 80s, really the early 90s. And now more than 50% of all cars sold in America are SUVs. And basically they took they said, how do we take a military truck and make it family style? They're like, families want something that takes the family, takes the stuff, takes the kids, and looks good while doing it, as opposed to like a minivan. So the intention with Jaspr was to create something with that industrial grade strength, and we made it out of steel, but it had to be beautiful and it had to be quiet, or it was never going to have a home in people's homes. So I'm sort of on a mission here. The first mission was to make Jaspr, but really what we're here to do is to raise air awareness. Jaspr or no Jaspr, there's a lot of things people can do, and people are, especially what's nice about your audience is people are already sort of, they're food aware, they're exercise, movement aware, supplementation, water quality. Meanwhile, so many people have been sleeping on air this whole time. And for everybody who doesn't realize that, you can go 3 weeks without food, 3 days without water, only 3 minutes without air. You eat 2 or 3 pounds of food a day, you drink 2 or 3 liters of water, which is like a gallon, and you breathe 15 to 20,000 liters of air per day. So it's by far the thing that we consume the most of. It's where it's where we get our oxygen. It's also where we breathe in a lot of toxins. And a lot of people have no idea what they're breathing in, specifically in their homes, because indoor air is typically 5 to 10 times dirtier than outdoor air. Outside, we got the sun, the wind, rain, and trees. But since the 70s, we've been building our homes so tight and with a lot of toxic materials. And if your home can't breathe, neither can you. So that's kind of the bird's eye view of how I got into this, what I'm up to, and why you should start thinking about your air.
Yeah, it's funny. My wife and I, we live in a house that was built in 1965 or thereabouts. And this house has solid doors. It's got, everything about it is the way a home used to be built. You go up into the attic, you look at the rafters, you look at everything, you go, my God, this thing is built like a vault, right? And we both grew up in houses like that. I grew up in southern Louisiana where you had to build the crap out of a house because every summer there would be hurricanes coming through. Every roof has to be at a certain pitch and everything, or your roof is going to get blown off.
Yep.
Right. That's just a fact. Right. And the houses are built with, they literally do tongue and groove on the roof. Can you imagine your roof being made out of tongue and groove underneath the shingles and everything? It's not plywood that's going to get ripped off in a storm. It's very strongly built homes. We have a home here built like that in the middle of Virginia. But when we were in California, we would look around at houses and we would go and you would walk into a newly built home and the smells, it almost smelled like a weird puke smell, right? It was like all these different chemicals. And the doors were all hollow core, but they were made out of this vinyl stuff and all this stuff. You can smell the houses when you walked into them. You can smell when they were built. And neither one of us liked those type of homes, to the point where before you, about, I want to say around 2016, 2017, a guy came on my podcast, Dr. Anthony J. And I don't know if you're familiar with him. At the time, he was with the Mayo Clinic. He's this research scientist with the Mayo Clinic, and he did that until about 2021 or something. And then he went on into his own business. But Anthony wrote a book called Estrogeneration, and why, so many people, guys have more estrogen in them now, and, women have way too much estrogen. Where's this coming from? And he said, literally, it's the air we're breathing. We all love the new car smell, right? And he said, the best thing that can happen when you get a new car is to leave the windows down as much as you can, to let that car off gas.
Yes.
Right? You want that new car smell to go away as fast as possible. And by keeping it in and, the sun beating on your car and hitting the vinyl and hitting the plastics and hitting all the stuff they put in the leather seats, all of that stuff is off gassing, and we're taking that in, is causing estrogen. He was the first guy that told me, when they hand you a receipt at a grocery store, you're touching estrogen, right? He was talking about that 7, 8, 10 years before anyone else brought it up. Just all the stuff he talked about just got me aware of, he's the guy, after his second appearance, you can see how banged up this thing is. It's the bottle I drink from every day. I had 2 of them. I'm down to 1. This thing is banged to hell. I've had the same stainless steel bottle. I can't even tell you who made it anymore because that's been washed off, right? But he was the one that told me, don't drink from plastic. in no circumstances do you want to drink from plastic, even to the point where if you're using a machine like a Keurig coffee machine.
Oh yeah, those are bad.
Like all coffee machines, the water, you put the water in a plastic bin, but it sprinkles onto your coffee pretty quickly. So it's not leaching very fast, right? The leaching thing is not happening very fast. So that's not a problem. But if you're using like a Keurig, the whole thing is heating in these coils. And then after it's heated, it's going through this plastic, and it's all a problem. So, that's why I know when Mike comes onto my show and starts talking about this and he's got a product to sell, I know he's not bullshitting us, because I had a research scientist from the Mayo Clinic tell me, oh yeah, this stuff is real and it's killing us. It's killing us the same way food is killing us. Now, Mike, what the audience does not know, let me let the audience in on the back end. After you came on my show, about 10 days later, this huge box shows up at my front door. And I looked at it and I went, I didn't order anything. I asked my wife, who's always ordering Amazon. It didn't have the Amazon smiley face on it. I went, okay, this box is big. There are vegans out there who wants to see me dead. I don't know what this box is. So I'm opening it. We do get, if we don't know what something is, we don't open it, right? Because I get weird stuff. Yeah. I'm outside with my knife cutter, standing back, opening this box, and I'll look in it. It's like, oh, it's Jaspr. I just spoke to this guy last week. What the hell did he send me? Turns out your woman, Liz, let's send Vinnie this unit. So I bring the unit in. The first thing you need to know about this unit, folks, is it's not a lightweight piece of equipment. This thing weighs something, right? So that right there, you got something in your hands, right? This thing has got heft to it. And when Mike says an air scrubber, this thing is about 2.5, maybe 3 feet high. And it's a cylinder. And I'm going to say the radius of it is at least a foot. Mike, did I?
You're close. Yeah, you're good.
3 feet radius. Because I'm looking at it over here in my office.
It's about 31 inches tall, 29 pounds heavy, and about a foot in diameter. So you're very close. Good eyes.
So I'm looking at this thing, and I already have an air purifier in my office. It sat under my desk. It's one of the ones, I think I mentioned to Mike what it was last time. It's one of the ones that they tell you, use this one, right? When you go look at the reviews. So I bring it in. I went, Mike gave me this thing. Jesus Christ, let me just plug it in and see what happens. I plug it in and it's on auto. And within just a couple of minutes, the thing is whirling up really high. Like it's not low. It keeps, even though I have it on auto, it keeps whirling up. And I'm like, why does it? And then I go and read the instructions and I find out, oh, there's a problem in my office. This thing is trying to scrub the air, right? It's on auto. And then once it cleaned the air, it settled back down to where you can't hear it anymore. Now, I still have the other one plugged in, Mike. Right? So I'm going, okay. I have an air purifier 7 feet away from this thing, and this thing is telling me that my air is not pure. But within about 30 or 45 minutes, it started to settle down. And then I went and read about the numbers and the whole thing. It shows you what your air quality is right there on top of the machine. The other machine tells you nothing. You just turn the fan on and let it rock and roll, right? So that was the first thing I noticed. But this is why I have you back on the show, Mike.
Let's hear it.
I have a Concept 2 rowing machine in my office. Are you familiar with the Concept 2?
I am.
It's got the big wheel on it, and Concept tells you once a year, you need to take the cover off of that machine and clean off the impellers. the thing that causes the resistance. And every year when I would open that thing up, because I do about 1 million meters a year, give or take. Right. So I use the machine. Every year when I open it, those impellers have a lot of dust bunnies on them. It's like caked on there. It's not just, you don't just wipe it. You need to take alcohol or something to remove it off of each impeller all the way around that machine. And then you got to clean the whole little bowl out and the whole thing, and you put it back together.
Yep.
The other machine was in here for all of those years that machine was in here, that my Concept 2 was in here. I went to clean the Concept 2 this year. I opened it up, and the freaking thing is almost completely clean.
Nice.
I'm sitting there going, and by the way, I'm sitting there going, wait a minute. Why is it not? And then I looked at my schedule and I went, okay, I cleaned this thing 12 months ago. And there's just a light coating of almost nothing on here. I didn't even need alcohol. I just dusted it off with one of those rags, right? I just took a rag and dusted it off. And I'm sitting there going, maybe I didn't roll that much this year. Well, guess what? I have right here on my desktop, I went to Concept 2 because they mark everything, it goes through an app and then it goes into your thing. I'm right at or right above the amount that I rode the previous year. And I'm sitting there just perplexed. It's like, why is this thing not dirty? And while I'm looking at it and cleaning it, I'll look at the machine next to it. And I go, oh, could this be it? Could this one thing, he called it an air scrubber. It's way more substantial than what I had before. All of this shit that's not in my machine is also not in my lungs. And then I started thinking through things, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an allergy guy. I'm not. And you might tell me this thing doesn't help allergies, but I'm telling you, I'm not an allergy guy. But when allergy season comes, I do get a little in my throat, right? A little burning, right? Not had any of that. I'll get like a mucusy thing.
Yep.
I don't sneeze and I all that kind of stuff. None of that is happening. I spend most of my time in this office. And the reason I know this thing is doing something is because when I light my fireplace, which has an incredible draw, if any puff of smoke comes in this direction, that thing is 10 feet away. It picks up on it right away, and the machine whirls up and cleans out that smoke right away. And I also built a model train from scratch this year. You should see it, Mike. It's awesome.
I'd love to.
Freaking awesome. Every now and then, I'm sprinkling snow on it, the fake snow and the whole thing that's made to do this.
Yeah.
The machine whirls up, right? It reminds you that it's here taking care of you. And that's when I said, I thought this guy was just yanking my chain a bit. But this thing is for real, right?
It is, man. So, and it's funny that we talk about breathing air,
right?
Because we don't think about the fish in the water, that they breathe water or that they drink water. We just see them living in the water. So even more than we breathe air, we live in air. Air is the thing. Oh.
Okay, folks, sorry about that. We had a technical difficulty, meaning the lights in my house, well, all the power just glitched off and came right back on. First time that's ever happened. So, Mike, we were in the middle of talking about how cool your machine is. And I think you were getting into, we don't think about breathing in the lungs, but it does make a big difference because, when you think about my Concept 2 machine, not grabbing all of that crap out of the air, that's what we would normally grab in our lungs, right? I mean,
exactly. So I like the saying, if you don't have a filter, your lungs are the filter. And, we think about breathing air, but really we live in air. The same way a fish, you don't think about the fish breathing water or drinking water. You just see the fish is in water. And with us humans, we live in air. This is the medium, between the sea and the sky, there's a very small layer. It's about 10 kilometers or 6 miles where there's even breathable air in existence.
Right.
So without air, there is no life here. So if you think about two fish, one fish, if you, and like whether it's a fish tank or a turtle or a swimming pool, you don't clean your swimming pool by scrubbing the liner. You have a water filter. You're
Right.
constantly pumping and filtering and circulating the water. Same thing with a fish tank. You have to constantly be filtering the water. You're cleaning the water, not the surfaces. And with the air in our homes, we just can't tell because we're in it. So we lack the perspective. Even if you go to a place like, you know, LA, Mexico City, Bangkok, where the air is hazard. You know, if you plug in a Jaspr in Beijing, it starts at a 70 or an 80. That's their outdoor air. But
Yeah.
on the ground level, people get used to it. You don't really notice it. We're really good at adapting to chronically sick, ill, toxic living conditions.
Right.
So yeah, even when I with like my furnace filters, I change mine once or twice a year, and I use the low grade ones, MERV 8, because my air is already clean. Also, I don't really have much of any dust in my home. If you have dust accumulating in your home, that is typically a symptom of poor air. So if you think about it, let's say you have a dusty coffee table. Did
Right.
the dust either, if there's two options, either did the dust A come from the coffee table and ascend through the wood, or did it accumulate from the air? You know, when you start to think about where does the dust come from, and dust is not one thing, it's accumulation of many things. Everything from bacteria, mold, dead skin cells, hair cells, pollution, you know, the rubber from the tire, insect parts. So outside, you don't really see dust accumulating, you don't really see mold growing. And if you think about like a river, when a river is flowing or water is flowing, that's typically when it's clean. But when you think about a stagnant pond, that's when you get the algae, the bacteria, and it becomes very sick, contaminated water very quickly. It starts to smell. Same thing with air. Outside with the wind, air is always moving, it's constantly flowing. But in a home environment, your air is stagnant, much like a stagnant pond. So that's why we get a lot of health issues and breathing issues. To speak to your allergies that you were talking about before, where not that you have much allergies, but during allergy season, you notice a little bit of symptoms like that. So that is one of the things that brings the most joy to my heart is when people start sleeping better and when their allergy symptoms go away. And the thing is, humans are pretty robust creatures. We could take the same way we can stress ourselves intensely for a workout, doesn't mean that's our default state in a heightened state of stressing the body or stressing the mind, but we can take it in these small doses. You know, if you're walking down the road and there's some tar or asphalt going down and you're smelling that horrible smell, you can handle that for a minute or two. You can go into a dirty, dusty, toxic environment for a small period of time. Your body's going to detox that. The issue is when the indoor air is 5 to 10 times dirtier than the outdoor air, and the average American is now spending over 95% of your time indoors. So your bedroom, when you're going to heal and recover, and your memories will consolidate and your muscles will repair. If you're breathing toxic, contaminated air all night, that's what you're living in. Your body has a really, really hard time regenerating and healing. So when you turn your bedroom, when you flip that from a very contaminated, toxic state to a clean air sanctuary and you have clean air in your bedroom, all of a sudden your inflammation comes down. And they show the higher the particulate, the more inflammation in your body, literally the less oxygen that you're getting. So, and this is a really cool thing, the gut health, the air gut health connection. So, if you think about smelling some delicious food and you can start to salivate,
Right.
at least that's what you want to happen. That response is not happening as much as it should. So, 50% of the digestive enzymes that occur in your gut, the enzymes and the acids that break down the food to allow you to absorb the nutrients, come from your olfactory system, which is a fancy way of saying your smelling system, your nose. So, when synthetic fragrances are in your environment, whether that's Speed Stick, Old Spice, perfumes, chemicals, Glade plugins, that new car smell, synthetic fragrances, they're everywhere now. Those, just like Febreze does not disinfect the gym bag. It
Right.
hijacks your ability to smell. So all you can smell is that lemony chemical scent, and you lose the ability to smell the underlying bacteria and odor that's still present. You haven't even masked it. You've put a mask on your nose, so you've blocked the ability to smell. And that's why fragrances are very powerful, because they block your ability to smell, and then they give you a singular smell. Now, the problem is, now, if you're not smelling your food properly, your gut has no idea what food is incoming. So it does not prepare the digestive enzymes and acids to be able to receive the food that's coming in. So I find when I'm eating now, especially in public, I hold, a lot of you all pray over their meal and have some gratitude. If you try slowly smelling your food, and if there's a few things on the plate, smell them each one by one. It's amazing. You'll feel the saliva just start rushing out and getting produced very quickly. So it's a vicious cycle, because you got all these toxic fragrances that are already bad for you, microplastics, chemicals, etc. Then it hijacks your ability to smell. Then your gut's not functioning properly, and we already have poor enough food quality and soil quality. But even if you're eating the best grass-fed, grass-finished steak with good oils and well sourced, it's like putting clean water through a dirty funnel. When your gut is not ready to prepare itself for those foods, you're missing out on a lot of that nutrient absorption. So there's a huge growing understanding and connection now between your air health and your gut health.
Yeah, it's amazing because we didn't talk about that the last time. One of the big topics that we did talk about was people who snore, because my wife
Yes.
will do a little snoring here and there. And to be honest with you, I've never brought it into the bedroom. It came into my office, it stayed here, and I've always wondered, oh, should I just bring it upstairs and try it there? But I like it down here, especially after I saw what it did to my machine. Somehow my wife has gotten past whatever the snoring problem was. But here's the deal, and it's one of the reasons I have you back on. A couple of people bought your machine after the show, right? They bought the air scrubber.
Yep.
And they put it in the bedroom. Now, the only reason I know about this is because I have a list right here. I do consults every day, 5 days a week. They go to VinnieTortorich.com, they sign up for a consult, and within a day, they're talking to me. Not someone that, a lot of people, they go, I'm not going to sign up. I'm going to be talking to one of his representatives. No, I'm a one trick pony. You sign up for a consult, you'll be talking to me. And we'll have a consultation about your health. You want to learn how to lift weights. You want to learn how to run better. You want to eat better. Whatever it is, we talk about. Twice in this time, since I guess it's been around 8-9 months since you and I spoke last, 2 people have written to us and said, hey, that air scrubber, yeah, I got one. Yeah, I don't snore anymore. So like, oh, so Mike wasn't lying about that, right? Not
Isn't
that
that
I'm
crazy,
lying
man?
about anything, but when someone's got something to sell, you're sitting there going, will it actually cause you to stop snoring? Really? But these people, I have 2 testimonials of people going, yeah, this thing works.
It's like it's not that the scrubber makes you not snore. It's the mold and the pollens and the allergens that you were breathing before were causing you to snore. And now they're not in your air anymore. So it's an addition by subtraction situation, which I love, because my willpower, I mean, now I've been going to the gym 5 days a week. I realize if I go with a friend and we hire a trainer, we show up, and it's been transformative for me. But generally, a lot of the health things, they take a lot of willpower. Cooking
Yeah.
a certain way, eating a certain way, doing the sauna, doing the red light, mindfulness, journaling. I like the stuff that takes no willpower. I truthfully believe the easiest, simplest thing that someone can do. By the way, I'm sending you another Jasper after this podcast for your bedroom.
Oh,
I
wow.
love that you're using it for the gym, but it's got to be in the bedroom. That, like, when you go to a naturopath, a functional medicine doctor, whatever, they ask you hundreds of questions that are very random, and they don't even ask you about your air or your water. The 2 things that you can survive the least without, the 2 most core things to your existence, are air and water. And they have you sometimes doing $3,000 or $4,000 worth of blood work and panels and imaging and all this stuff, and then you get it back, and they give you 100 supplements to take. But like day one, Jaspr in the bedroom, and a water filter on your countertop. If you can clean up your sleeping air and your drinking water, those are by far your, get a good water bottle and make sure you're like, don't worry for step one. I'm not worried about the air in your office, in your gym, in your main area, your living room, your school, all that stuff. I'm not worried about your shower water, your bath water. Let's get to that stuff later. But if we can clean up the sleeping air and the drinking water, wow. $1,000 or so, and those two problems are largely solved. And there's you could go deep down the rabbit hole, but sometimes 0 to 1, the first step is the biggest step. So I think sleeping air and drinking water are the two easiest things to just clean up to reduce that toxic burden. So I'll tell you again, the sleep study that we did, we gave 150 people, or they already had Aura rings, they were tracking their sleep. So we gave 150 people Jaspers in exchange for 1 month of sleeping data. And the average person got 18% more deep sleep and 25 minutes more per night. Now
Wow.
that's the average. So some people slept 4 minutes more, 6 minutes more, but a good chunk, what brought that average all the way up to 25 minutes was there were people who were sleeping 4 hours a night that went to 6.5 because they had mold or they had allergens. They had really unhealthy air in their bedroom. And then they just solved that problem. So those folks really dramatically brought up the average. Um, so between allergies, sleep, I call air sleep fuel at night and thinking fuel in the day. The amount of studies out there where they do either chess masters, they measure their performance, SAT scores. So they do studies and they look at SAT scores and air quality, and it's completely linear. The worse the air quality, the worse the test score. Because what's allowing us to think right now and engage in this conversation are we could not eat, we could not drink, I'm fine, but we couldn't
Right.
go very long without breathing. So if you just like your car, you give your car cleaner fuel, your car runs better. You give your mind and your body cleaner air, the cleaner fuel, it runs better. So that's why like this is such an easy thing for me to talk about. And because it's air, it's the thing we live in. Now, good news for people. You can actually make a DIY air filter that will work almost as good as Jaspr for $150.
Cool.
So the it's called a Corsi Rosenthal box, but honestly, if you Google DIY air filter, most of the designs are very good. Be about $150 in parts, take you 3 or 4 hours, and plus a trip to Home Depot. Um, what's good about them is they move a lot of air. So the problem with these little air purifiers that you see in the stores, they're just too small to get the job done. They don't move enough air. So even it's like if you have a kettle and a water heater and a pool heater, they're all the same. They have coils and they heat water, whether it's electricity or gas. The
Right.
difference is how much water can you heat? So I always like to joke little air purifiers. It's like a kettle that you're trying to fill up your swimming pool with. The water's getting hot, but the pool's not getting any hotter because it's cooling down faster than you can heat it up. So those little air purifiers, if you put it in a small closet, it would do the job. A tiny closet on full speed. The problem is they don't move enough air. So a lot of the companies, they use very misleading marketing talking about their filter and 99.99% of particles. Sure, but they don't clean enough air. So your air is getting contaminated faster than you can actually clean it. So yeah, that's why Jasper is a certain size. It's the size that it needs to be able to clean your air quietly. Now, in a bedroom setting,
Hmm.
at fan speed 3 is truly where the magic happens. So if someone lives in the woods and they really prefer silence when they sleep, fine. Use smart mode. It's okay. But 91% of people that we survey actually like and enjoy white noise. It's actually pink noise that it's called from a fan. Um, and when you have it on fan speed 3, that's when we're getting the air 20, 30, 40 times cleaner in the bedroom. And I like to joke, there's one bad thing that can happen when you have a Jasper in your bedroom. You can become an air snob. All of a sudden, when you're in Ubers and the malls. So before I talked about how those synthetic fragrances mask your ability to smell, here's the good news. In 30 to 60 days, your olfactory system and your neurons completely regenerate. So that's why within 30 to 60 days, that's when someone has a complete transformation. But there, in addition to scrubbing your air, looking at better personal care products like non-toxic cleaning products. I find the biggest one by far is actually the non-toxic deodorants. A
Yeah,
brand that I truly love, and you'll almost never hear me loving brands, is called Primally Pure. It's in Temecula, California. They have their own farms and regenerative agriculture, and they use beef tallow for a lot of their products. But their deodorants actually work great. And after about a month or two, you can smell someone using Speed Stick or Old Spice or something like that across the room. So you want to clean your air, and but you also want to be mindful of the products that you're putting on your body. Um, but yeah, what I really wanted to hammer home is there is the DIY option for people. So if people are, the downside is it's going to be ugly and
yeah,
it won't have a sensor on it. But where does that make sense? Someone on a really big on a budget, if you're just getting it for wildfire smoke,
right.
it's going to run on full speed anyway. Jaspr was designed for people who want a beautiful machine and a great warranty and good service and smart sensors. I designed Jaspr. I'm a mold man, fire flood guy. My wife likes interior design, so we made the product that we really wanted: high quality service and support. But I think it's really important that people know that there's affordable options out there. What I'm on a mission against is people buying a little plastic machine at the store, thinking it's not an air issue, and moving on and being like, didn't work. That's what I'm here to talk about. And Jasper is for the people who want our solution, but it's really important that people get a solution, because breathing unfiltered air at home, it's not going to be good for you or your family.
Yeah, Mike, look, I wouldn't have you back on if, like I said, you guys didn't promise me anything. Machine shows up. I went, what the hell? Throw it in my office. I'll tell you another time. Wintertime came, and then all of a sudden, I had to clean some ashes out of my fireplace here in my office. And I do the thing where I spray it down with water so it doesn't make
Good.
ash go everywhere. Yeah, I do the water spray, and then I'm scooping it out. All of a sudden, I hear it whirling up. It's like having your own little robot in your office. It's like, oh shit, I'm still pushing stuff around this office, even though I sprayed these ashes down, right? Yep. It's picking up. That's what's so shocking about this thing. It's like things that you would never think that is picking up. By the way, I wrote down, is it primarily pure?
Yeah, PRIMALY pure.
All right, I got to tell you, years ago, because after I had cancer the first time, that's why I'm talking to you, Mike. When I had cancer the first time in 2007, I looked at everything. That's how I started purevitaminclub.com. Right. I looked at everything. I looked at my vitamins. They had titanium dioxide, they had magnesium stearate, they had excipients and flow agents. And I went looking for the purest stuff in the world, couldn't find it. I just made it myself and started a company. And that company does wonderfully now. But I made vitamins for me, and the only way I could take my own vitamins is sell them to other people. It was a very simple concept. The same with deodorant. I used to use, since I was a kid, I used Mitchum, right? And Mitchum doesn't have much of a smell to it. It's just not a whole lot. But I ran out. I've been using, it's got aluminum and everything else in it. I started using just different, hippie juice company stuff, right? All the ones, right?
Yeah, crystals and stuff.
I started with crystals, but that's aluminum anyway. And then I went over to, from crystals, I went over to, I can't think of the name of the brands. It's what I use now. I use Tom's sometimes because it's natural and you can find the ones with not a lot of scent in it or whatever. But every now and again, you'll walk past someone that's in the gym, right? You're in the gym and you walk past someone. It's like, they don't smell like a human, right? It's like, Jesus Christ, what the hell? Right. So
dude, I literally just got an order. It came today or yesterday of 30 bottles of Primally Pure, because to just be the complainer was no good. So I flipped that. Instead, I gift them a Primally Pure. So I carry a bunch on me. So if I experience someone in public, I gift them and I have no affiliate deal or nothing. I love the company and I like the founder, Bethany. She's really smart. She'd actually be a really good guest.
I'm going there since the show's over.
Deeply passionate.
Yeah.
deeply passionate.
Yeah.
She lives it. So it's cool. It's really nice when you find a product that somebody created. The best products aren't, and it's funny, like we have the best product on the market by far, and huge 100 million and multi-billion dollar companies, they have crap products. It's because they sell thousands of things, and a bunch of guys in a room are looking at the market size and distribution, and they're just checking boxes. Whereas when people create products for themselves and then bring those to market, they're way better products.
Yeah. And, I get asked all the time, how can you sell vitamins? And it's like, well, number one, I don't care about huge profits. Number two, I don't
Same.
have a bean counter. I'm the bean counter. As long
Same.
as I can draw a profit and not have to deal with a bean count. So in other words, if I sold Pure Vitamin Club next week and made millions of dollars, whoever I sold it to, Bayer or any of the big companies that buy vitamin companies, the first thing they would do is change the formulas.
Yep.
That's why this company will be mine until I die, right? Because it's the only way to keep it pure, period, right? And when I hear about people like this, Bethany, as a matter of fact, we will be in touch with her. And by the way, I'm sending you all of our vitamins. Do you drink coffee? You drink
I
coffee.
do. I do.
I'm sending you all my coffee and all my vitamins. I want you to be on the stuff. I'm
Great.
getting it to you right after the show. We'll be in touch through Liz.
Okay.
But the bottom line is that there are good things out there. And before the internet age, little companies like mine, yours, did you say Bethany or what was the girl's name?
That's her name. Yeah.
Okay. We couldn't exist. I just did an ad for Villa Capelli olive oil, the best olive oil on the planet. I knew Paul Capelli until the day he died. I'm still good friends with Paul Capelli's husband, who stayed in Italy to keep running the company after Paul died. He's from Texas originally, the guy.
Wow.
But when Paul died, he was like, we got to keep this company going. And he took it over, and it's still a small company. And people will say to me, I went to Villa Capelli last week and they're out of olive oil. Yes, because once they run out of olives, that's it.
Yeah.
Notice Bartoli or whatever it is never out of olive oil. Right? You ever wonder why? Because they're giving you seed oils. They can cut it up to 40%. Our government allows that. And you're able to sell the product 40% cut and call it pure, unadulterated, first press, virgin, whatever you want to put on a bottle. You say whatever you want. That's why I love guys like you, Mike. I love people. There was someone else that used to send me deodorant too. A lot of people send me deodorant. Apparently I smell. I don't even use regular soap. There's one called Grandma's, which is made of lard and something else. There's no smell to it. I use pine tar.
What are you using for cleaning?
My wife buys a lot of stuff. None of it is like made by, any of the big companies, right? But I got a feeling some of them still have chemicals in them, even though they're
I really don't feel like starting any new companies right now. But if I was going to start a new one, it would be a really great cleaning product. We're cleaning the air now, but the surfaces could use some work.
Dude, it does. We use a lot of homemade hippie stuff. Like we add water and vinegar to make, surface cleaner. So we use a lot of that. Yeah. But she does buy a couple of products. I want to say it's something called New Generation, or I don't have any of it here in my office, but yeah, we use a lot. When I use window cleaner in my office, the machine whirls up, right? It's picking up on the ammonia or whatever's in a window cleaner.
Oh man, even the method and a lot of clean products. So it's funny, like, I didn't know much about cleaning products. I just know which ones Jaspr gets mad at, and I can see which surface products are impacting the air. And that's how I realized, like, oh wow, this is an issue. Hairsprays, incense, candles, cooking, fireplaces. And the thing is, it's not like you shouldn't use your indoor fireplace. It's a great source of heat. It just makes it's like tap water straight from the city. And I'm not that mad at the city, by the way, or cities for chlorinating our water. They're doing what they have to do to treat water, because the water, so it doesn't kill you today. And there's some, we don't get educated on it. That's the real problem. Like, it should be code when you build a home to have a whole home water filtration system, because the city doesn't filter your water very good. They treat it, which is a really nice way of saying blast it with, chlorine and fluoride and stuff. But now you have to filter it at the point of use in your own home. So we're not educated, and that kind of stuff's not in code. So what's really important to me, more podcasts, getting more people aware. The ultimate is if homes could be built to a higher standard. And that's probably how I'll spend my next decade. But for now, just like getting people really aware of their air. And a couple of last tips for everybody is like, don't wear your shoes inside. 95% of shoes have fecal matter, and probably more than that have glyphosate on them. Amazon packages, don't put them on the kitchen counter and the table. Don't put your backpack, if you wear like a backpack or a purse, something that's out in the world, on the floor, on the subway, on the train, on the plane. So you're putting it on your floor, it's fine, but don't put it on your couch or your bed. These are porous materials. These are like sponges. So if you have your bag out in the world and then you drop it on your bed or on your couch, all that's absorbing into that material. When we do an air sample in people's homes and we smack the couch or we smack the carpet, it goes up by 1,000x. So all those soft materials are constantly kicking up. But yeah, when you do scrub your air adequately, 50% of the dust and debris and particulate in your carpet comes from, food, cooking, shoes, pets, kids, all that. The other half comes from your air. So yeah, this season of life is all about raising air awareness. And I'm happy that Jaspr can fill the void. And just the most important thing about Jaspr is it acts as a vehicle for me to have conversations like this with people like you.
Mike, I have two, and these questions are for me. I don't care about the audience here.
Okay. I bet you that they care about what you care about, though.
Well, we're going to find out.
Okay.
I turn my Jaspr on when I come in my office at around 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. And it stays on all day, whether I'm in the office or go out to go work out or whatever. And I turn it off at around 11 or 12 at night. So there are hours when it's not on. The question is, should I leave it on 24/7 or is that good enough? First question.
You absolutely should turn it on 24/7.
Okay.
I never turn mine off. And when I go on vacation, I leave it on high speed.
Really?
I actually turn it up. So from an energy consumption standpoint, we're talking 5 to 10 cents a day, depending on where you're at.
Yeah,
so,
because it's just a little fan in there that's grabbing the air and pulling it through. So it can't be a whole lot. That's
so it's not like a space heater where it's heating. So it doesn't take a lot of energy. That's point one. And then two, just because you leave the room, it doesn't mean the dust and the mold and the allergens and the pollution stops accumulating. So you'd rather keep that air being scrubbed constantly. Also, it's going to be filtering the air throughout your whole home and contributing. So if you have a few Jaspers, especially, they work like a decentralized whole home system. So a lot of people, you go on vacation for a week or two, you come back and your home kind of smells stale and it smells stuck. It's because you weren't opening doors and windows. The home hasn't been breathing. Even when you walk through your home, it's like if you take like a body of water and you run your hand through it, you're mixing it up. When you live in a home, your body is, by breathing and by moving, you're acting as the movement system that moves the air around. So I put my Jaspers on full speed when I go to town, because I'd rather capture the dust, the mold, the particulate, the VOCs when I'm not home, and constantly be filtering my air. And it doesn't, and from a filter life expectancy, it's not like you're going to get more filter life out of running it less frequently, because carbon absorbs things. It doesn't just, there's a HEPA and a carbon. So when I was doing restoration, in between every job, we'd have to put our filters into an airtight vacuum sealed bag, because the ambient air is already breaking down the carbon. By the way, when I send you the Jaspr for your bedroom, I'm going to send you a new filter too. But yeah, you never want to turn it off. So answer to question one is they should always be running at a very minimum on smart mode. And when you're not there, I would even crank it more.
Okay. So that's never getting turned off then. It's on for life. Right now, when the lights glitched in the middle of this podcast, it might have kicked it off. So I might have to go turn it back on. The second question, I think you just answered it, was the filter. Now, I noticed when I got the machine, I had to put the filter in it, right? I put the filter in and cranked it up, and that was it. I was impressed at the heft and the weight of the filter, which is most of the weight of the machine, which felt nothing like the little tiny filter that was in the toy that was under my desk. And my second question was, how often should I change that filter? And I'm guessing you're going to tell me it depends on how
No,
bad my hair is.
it doesn't depend actually. And so that filter is just under 5 pounds. I can stand on that filter at about 180 pounds. Most filters are under half a pound. So the filter is truly the star of the show. You know, you think of Jaspr as the machine that you can see, but the filter is where the magic really lies. The machine is just a pretty box that moves air through it, and in this case, it has a sensor, so it makes it changes the fan speed. But the filter is the magic. It costs us a lot more to make the filter than most people can sell filters for. So it has a pound of carbon in it, activated carbon. We're working on actually switching to a coconut carbon. That would be a really great upgrade from a sustainability standpoint. But the filter, and you know, I sent you yours, so you didn't go through the normal buying experience.
Right.
But typically, people change that filter twice per year. And the HEPA could theoretically last a little bit longer, but the carbon is zapped at around 6 months. So the
Okay, yeah. So
VOCs and
mine is
the
done. Mine
odors,
is done.
you're
Right.
ready. So your
Yeah.
HEPA is still working. It's still filtering mold spores, dust mites, bacteria. What it's not doing as good is going to be odors, gases, and VOCs. So that
Yeah.
new home smell, that new car smell, odors, and things like that. So it's still doing a lot for you, but 6 months is optimal.
Okay, so I'm just going to go on an every 6 month change the filter thing, folks. Here's what I'm doing. Mike and I talked about this before the show. This show is not meant as an infomercial, but for me to be this impressed and to call Mike back and go, Mike, Christmas is coming up. I want to offer this to my people.
Black Friday.
Yeah, Black Friday. This show is coming out on the 21st. So it's the week before Black Friday. I'm going to keep this deal running all the way through Black Friday. If you hear this podcast, there's a promo code. The Jaspr is not a cheap piece of equipment, but I'm telling you, is worth every dime. There's a $300 discount by putting in promo
400.
$400 discount.
400. And if you see any other sales or discounts on our website, still use the code. It will add something even bigger, but it's 400.
Okay. $400 discount. The machine is normally, is it
$11.99?
$11.99? $7.99.
Yeah.
Boom. Folks, go get this machine. All you have to do is put in promo code Vinnie. I'm going to have Leona put it in the show notes and everywhere else. Promo code Vinnie, VINNIE. Go get this thing. If you looked at it on the site the last time and you went $1,200, these people must be crazy. Go get this thing.
And just so everybody knows, we call it the last air scrubber you'll ever need to buy. So it's really important. It has a lifetime warranty, and you get 60 days to return it, because that's how long you need for your whole olfactory system to regenerate and be a sufficient air snob. But put it in your bedroom. If you're getting one, put it in your bedroom. But the lifetime warranty and our service is something I'm more proud of than the product itself. So if Jaspr breaks, and it does happen, we ship you a brand new one. You take the new Jaspr out of the box. You put the old Jaspr back in the box. We give you a prepaid shipping label from UPS, and then we send UPS to your front door to pick it up. So
Wow.
our thought is, Jaspr is designed to last a lifetime. But so when it breaks, that's on us. So you don't, because I hate when I buy a product with a warranty and they want me to buy, do you have a box, and send me videos. They make me feel like a liar. I got to go to FedEx, pay $100 or more to ship it back. It's not cool. So they say, you say treat people how you want to be treated. And if
Yeah.
you're in a position where you're running a business, you should treat your customers how you want to be treated if you're a customer. So the lifetime warranty is amazing. So we call it the last air scrubber you'll ever need to buy. So yes, it costs a little bit more than the cheap ones, but A, it actually works, and B, you'll never, other than those filters twice a year, which is bundled with the lifetime warranty, it enables us to offer that kind of service. And Jaspr or no Jaspr, feel free to hit us up, send us an email, message us online. If you have any specific questions, we're here for you. Jaspr or no Jaspr, we're here to educate. So hopefully this resonates with some. But yeah, Black Friday is coming up. So what better than investing in your air?
Yeah, I was, I just haphazardly, I was talking to, the woman who works with you, Liz, and, I was saying, Liz, I really love this product. I really love this product. And she was like, yeah, I know everyone loves the Jaspr. Everyone loves the Jaspr. I was like, no, Liz, this thing. And I told her the story about my concept too. And she goes, oh, he's going to want to hear this. Right.
I like that.
And that was the beginning of me going, I wonder if I can do something for my audience, because I know 2 people bought it without any discount. Right?
Yeah, we didn't do any promotion stuff last
time. There was no promotion. You just came on the show and talked about it. You sent me one for free, which I'm very grateful for. And I love the thing. I want my audience to have what I have. And folks, God, you're taking $400 off. I thought Liz told me $300. Folks, you can't not go do this. It's $400 off of a $1,200 machine, $799, just by putting in promo code Vinnie, VINNIE. Go check out Jaspr right now. And we're going to call it right here, because I know you guys are going to want to go and look at that. Don't hang up whatever you do, Mike, because then it won't.
I'm here.
Populate and all that stuff. Go get a Jaspr right now. Promo code Vinnie, VINNIE, no MPY. It's also the holidays. You know what to do. We're going to all start shopping on Amazon. Before you go to Amazon, go to VinnieTortorich.com. Click through the banner. It puts coal on the fire, gets my train down the track. I'm able to keep this show free for a gazillion years in a row. Mike, just to be sure, you don't sell these things on Amazon, right?
Absolutely not.
No, you can only get it from Jaspr.com. So go to Jaspr.com.
Amazon was not able to offer any kind of quality experience or service or support. So the only place to get it is through us. That way we can control the level of service we provide our customers.
Yeah. And look, whenever Amazon screws up one of my vitamin things, I send them vitamins from my company, even though Amazon buys them from us and then resell. People call me and go, hey, Amazon screwed up my thing. I just send them out. It's like,
yeah.
Here, I'm not going to lose a customer over that. So folks, go check out everything Mike Feldstein.
And like I said, because it's Black Friday, if there's any other discounts on the website, still use code Vinnie. It will always add a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, please do. Yeah, we want to know who's listening to this and who's going over and buying this. So put in promo code Vinnie if you're listening to this. You guys are used to doing that with other products like Villa Capelli and everyone else. And we're going to call it right there. On behalf of Mike Feldstein, my name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living and do it with enthusiasm.